It's like right there.
Oh, okay.
It's like, what, how long is that?
Oh, that's 3 minutes with traffic.
Nice.
That's sweet.
We can walk. Dude, it takes 11 minutes.
I am not fucking walking.
11 fucking minutes?
Swag.
11 at night.
Fine. When we can walk tomorrow morning, I'm not gonna drive there for about a 10-minute walk.
Dude, it's not Infusion, the tournament.
Oh no, it isn't.
Hey there, Yugi2. Welcome to the Blue Corner. Coming to you live from the Winnipeg Regionals. Yeah. My first Regionals. I am pretty stoked. Running my usual deck.
That one's gonna win it all.
Damn straight. I've got anything to say to YouTube? This is for YouTube. Alright. Yeah. So, I only got like a space-time police and Majigama thing from my generation course, but I got some bitchin' sleeves, so it's all good. Catch you guys. Round 5. I'm 2 and 3. Well, I'll give you guys a tournament report later, but long story short, stacking has been abundant today. Wait. Seeing how I got some time, I'm just going to do a survey. Seen Dark Worlds, Machina Gadgets, Hero Gates.
Don't worry, I've still got eyes on it. Don't worry, Dad.
Interesting. Yeah. For my first regionals, this is not really going too well, but I somewhat expected as much. Really ticked off of the misplays I made, though. Anyway, though, Yugi2, I will hopefully have deck profiles of my friends who I came with and my own. So, I'm just going to cut out of here.
Ow. Yeah, can we summon? He boosts himself up.
Hang you up.
Isn't it continuous though?
Isn't it attack? He starts on 0.
Don't mind me, people. I'm just putting random duels. Yeah, it was pretty entertaining. Oh, this? Yeah, I'm just recording stuff. Figured make a video log of it for YouTube. But,
Thank you, Andrew.
do you have a problem, good sir? Alright, we're back. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to do some of the things I said, i.e. the deck profiles, interviews. Will kind of came back from the regionals a bit exhausted. At least I know. I was feeling pretty tired, yeah, and broke. Fun adventure, though. And it was a very nice experience. The place that we went, Army and Navy, it was well run. The staff there were nice. The guys in charge of the tournament were also very nice. My only real complaint was that a lot of the other players seemed to be insistent on putting Yu-Gi-Oh! The trading card game over their own personal hygiene. Because more often than not, I was nearby someone who absolutely stank. I mean, we're talking about people who didn't bathe for maybe 2 days. The body odor was just that obnoxious, and I was practically gagging when I sat at some of the tables. It was pretty bad. I just could not believe it. Like, I knew there would probably be one or two people who didn't smell the best, because there's always those kind of people, but I think maybe half the people there were this bad, and yeah, I just couldn't believe it. All of 5 of us, we were late in getting up for the event, but we all still had the time to shower for this, and words just cannot really describe how much I was disgusted by some of this stuff. So that's my major complaint about the Winnipeg Regionals. Otherwise, it was a great place to go, and if I would love to go there again and again, but alas, I just don't know if I can afford these kind of things very often. I won't lie, the trip to Winnipeg and everything involved in it, it did hurt my funds that I was saving up for YCS Toronto, so I don't know if I can really hit up regionals very often if I want to be able to go to Toronto next year. So, otherwise, yeah, fun stuff. 5 of us went. I was with Magnus from Team Dark Rebo, Ryan from Team Sharp Objects, Zach and Damon. I don't know if they had channels, and yeah, we all participated. I'll post how we all did at the end of the video. Magnus ran Tengu Tour Guide Plants. Unfortunately, he forgot to write Levier the Sea Dragon into his extra deck, and as a result, he wasn't able to use it for the whole tournament. Likewise, a Chaos Piper player forgot to write Formula Synchron in his extra deck, and he wasn't able to use that for the tournament, which was, that was really painful. But he managed to top with it, which actually shocked me. And a lot of us was like, wow, he managed to top even without the heart and soul of his engine. Good stuff. I, of course, ran my Disaster Dragon, but unfortunately, and I think this might have been just me being a bit tired the night before, because I had to get up early so we could all make it there within a reasonable amount of 6 hours, and then we ended up going to sleep about 2 hours before we had to, I ended up falling asleep 2 hours before having to get up for the event, so a lot of us just got like 3 hours sleep. Yes, I know. It's one of the big things you're not supposed to do before a major tournament like this is you're not supposed to stay up too late. You're supposed to get to bed early and get some decent sleep. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that came and bit me in the ass a couple times. But long story short, I had originally planned to do this rather nice Light and Darkness Dragon based build here, but for some reason I thought that Lad would be a bad card to run with Dark Worlds and Agents and all that shit out there. So I ended up dropping my 2 Lads for a Yamato Dragon and a Fiendish Chain. Bad idea. I never saw either card, whereas when I main deck Lad, I saw him quite often. So for the tournament, I ended up running what I feel was an inferior build, in addition to just all kinds of stupid shenanigans. So that being said, I will go over a brief summary of my matchups and just tell you guys what happened, what I think I should have done, etc., etc. Okay, so the regionals was a 72-person tournament with 8 rounds, which suited me just fine. I wasn't really looking forward to like a huge 200-person thing, and I think a lot of people were probably. Actually, I don't know. But yeah, same weekend as YCS Columbus. So maybe that had a part of it. Who knows? Anyway, so my first matchup is against Heroes. It was a Fusion Gate Miracle-based deck. Just the kind of fusion stuff that was made possible thanks to release of Legendary Collection 2. This guy's build was very weird. It was definitely not the norm. He wasn't running the likes of Hero Blast or Gemini Spark. I don't think he had Bailers, and if he had warnings, I'm not too sure if he had them. According to my sheet that I was using to keep track of life points, I don't ever see him going by 2,000, so I don't think he had warnings too. He was running a 43-card deck that had Twin-Headed Thunder Dragon and Thunder Dragons in the main. More often than not, he would pitch a Thunder Dragon, get 2 more, and then he would Fusion Gate that into Twin-Headed Thunder Dragon. Game 1, it's pretty close. We go back and forth. He's able to get rid of my big monsters, be it with removal, or he's or using Miracle Fusions. I, for the longest of time, could not answer his Masked Hero Vapor. That's the one that can't be destroyed by card effects, and not surprisingly, I had a Torrential Tribute, Bottomless Trap Hole, and Exploder Dragon in my hand. I didn't have a Masked Dragon that I could use to search out a Delta Flyer, and then proceeded to Barnack, bounce the thing, or just run it over. So I had to wait a little bit before I could finally draw a Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon and run over the stupid thing. Unfortunately, he then Miracle Fusions into a Great Tornado to halve my Darkness Metal Dragon, which hurts a lot. I'm able to get around that. I put him down to about 50 life points, but afterwards he just gets a crazy series of good top decks. I should note that I opened with 2 back row set in the Quackmere Jago, and he opened with Heavy Storm and Dark Hole, FML. Game 2, I don't draw a single monster for many turns. I open with a Red Eyes Wyvern, but that's it. So up until I believe my 11th card I drew, I didn't have anything to work with it. So I was forced to beat with him and use my back row to keep him from summoning anything bigger than that. And yeah, I do pretty well. My back row stuns him, and by the time I get Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon out onto the field, unfortunately he Miracle Fusions into the Great Tornado, halves my guys, I kill it, and then I drop him a Kaika the Ghost Destroyer to stop him from using Miracle Fusion, but then he Monster Reborns into my Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, which is enough to exactly finish me off. I had 1,000 life points, so yeah, Darkness Metal versus Kaiku. And that concluded round 1. So I'm really disappointed how in that game 2 I didn't draw a single monster to work with. I had him down to 50 life points too in game 1, so it was really close. I really felt that if I had drawn more monsters to work with, I might have been able to take it to game 3. Next round, I'm up against what appears to be a Harpy Lady deck. Only later on do I realize that it's a Dark Morg. Game 1, though, I beat him down fairly easily. He doesn't have very many answers to a field of Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon and Stardust Dragon. So, not much to say on that one. Let's see, let me just turn the page. Okay. Game 2, it's pretty much the same, except that he's able to get to a point where he has a field of a level 4 monster, he normal summons another one, and Monster Reborn's a level 1 tuner to make a Trishula, who completely wrecks my field. He gets rid of my Darkness Metal Dragon, and he gets rid of my Dark Hole that I had in my hand. I don't draw an immediate out to it, and it's already been about 25 minutes into the match, so I decide to scoop it up and try again in game 3. That way I have time on my side, if need be. So, game 3, once again, it's pretty much the same, except I have a Future Fusion going off. So when he Trishulas, he's forced to Trishula my Future Fusion, I believe. Yeah. He either, Trishulas my Future Fusion, or he Trishulas something else on my field. Long story short, he Trishulas me, and this time around, it doesn't completely fuck me over. I'm able to get around the Trishula, and through a series of pretty good top decks, I MST his Mirror Force, and then drop the Monster Reborn. And therefore, I get the victory. I know it's a pretty sacky way to win, but hey, he Trishulaed me in 2 duels, and he overextended to make the Trishula, so something had to give. So, I'm 1-1 at this point. Round 3, I am up against Machina Gadgets, and in game 1, I don't open with a single monster at all. My next couple draws are also no monsters, so unfortunately, I have no choice but to use Solemn Warnings, Torrential Tributes, Deep Prisons, and the like on his gadgets just so I don't die. I eventually get down to 2100 life points when I finally draw my Quackmere Jago, and I'm like, at this point, I don't think I'm going to be able to do much in this game 1. He doesn't know when I'm running it, so I might as well just scoop it up and side deck accordingly. That way, he has no idea what to really side in on me, whereas I have a lot of ideas of what I could side. And it pays off. As game 2, I open up with Future Fusion and Thunder King Ryle. I'm able to drain his back rows, so he eventually has no answers to my Darkness Metal Dragon summons. And I Mind Crush with the gadget that he top decks. Or rather, he top decks a gadget, then he summons it, and then I Mind Crush what he searches out. And I'm able to prison his Machina Fortress, which is a big thing, so I win that one. Game 3, he opens with Dimensional Fissure, and I'm like, fuck, not this card. I hate Dimensional Fissure so much when I don't have an answer to it, or because I opened with an Effect Failure, a Call to Haunted. Like, I had some pretty good cards, but with a D-Fissure on the field, they were nothing. And yeah, whatever monsters I did put on the field were hit by Smashing Ground, and he got a Machina Fortress out, which I had no real answer to. And I knew he had a Starlight Road set too, so any Heavy Storm on top deck would have been no good. Eventually, I'm just forced to scoop it up. And to the people out there who called me a moron for saying that you need to watch out for gadget sighting and D-Fisher on you, you have absolutely no idea what the hell you're talking about. Gadgets are hurt far less from D-Fisher than meta decks are hurt by Fisher. Plants, Dark Worlds, Agents, my deck, D-Fisher hurts us far more than it does these guys. And they'll still +1 regardless. So, yeah, D-Fisher really friggin' hurts. So, 1-2 at this point. Next round, I go up against Dark World. My first Dark World matchup of the day. I'm surprised it took this long. I didn't face any Agents or Plant Synchro this day either, which surprised me given how much these 3 decks were literally all over the place. So, I know if I can keep Quackmere Drago out and often, then it will really stun him up, as, yeah, Dark Worlds hate Drago. And unfortunately, he gets the die roll, and what happens? He opens up Tour Guide and the Sangan, and not surprisingly, I had this guy in my hand. Anyway, after that, I summon Drago, and it does stun up a little bit. Unfortunately, he does pitch a Grapha to kill it. And then from there on, we go back and forth. Unfortunately, he had the power of better top decks on his side. We're talking like Sack Dark Hole, Sack Moss Reborn. And the other problem was, unfortunately, I had him down to 150 life points and an open field to take a swing at, but I had no monsters in my hand. Now, this might have been the sleep talking or just a oversight, but I had a Totem Dragon in my graveyard that I could have standby phase special summoned and then proceeded to swing at him for a game. I didn't do this, and not surprisingly, I lost because of the result. So, what it comes down to is I could have won game 1. I was at 2650 to his 150, but unfortunately I didn't Totem Dragon and kill him, and as a result he summoned a Dark World, Bouncer Grapha, GG. Game 2, I open with Future Fusion, but Grapha is able to kill it. Any Quackmere Drago put out, he manages the Dark Hole, and then he Tour Guides into Sangan, and then Tour Guides into, yeah. Between Grapha, Dark Hole, Tour Guide, I'm not really able to do much to establish control. It was a pretty sacky game all around. What else should I say? Let's see. He sided in Snowman Eater, which also killed my Drago. And I didn't manage to get a Kaiko off, but he was able to kill that. And the debunk I drew after he pitched Grapha ended up doing nothing because, save for that initial Grapha pitch, he didn't discard at all. Like, I noticed in both games, he had problems getting his discard engine going. And if a lot of Dark Worlds are like this, then I think the deck matchup is going to be a bit easier as time goes on. If you can keep him from summoning this guy and wrecking your hand with Drag Down to the Grave, then you should be able to play off the deck's inconsistency. You just got to watch out for Dark Smog next set. So, yeah, that's that. Then the next round begins, and I end up going against a guy who's a no-show. So I get the match win. And yeah, at this point I'm sitting 2-3. My only win is against Samoric Harpy Lady, and that's not really a meta deck. I apologize to Harpy Lady fans, but in the face of the meta decks, I just could not do it. And at this point, the Winnipeg competition has been announced, so I figure, you know what, it's my first regionals, it's my only regionals for this year, and it's going to be the one I go to for a long time. I might as well just get the most out of it and go for this. So I dropped and decided to take a crack at the Winnipeg. Before doing this though, since I learned that you were able to change decks and all that stuff before the Winnipeg, I do the one thing I should have just done in the first place, and that is I put this guy back into the deck. So yeah, I switched from a Yamato Dragon base build to a double Light and Darkness Dragon build. And it pays off, as my first opponent in the Winnipeg is the legendary 6 Samurai, who I assumed and knew what my cards did because he didn't ask about them, but when I opened Quackmere Drago and some back row and he tried to summon Shien, I kind of had a good idea that I could summon some cards and he wouldn't really know how to play against them. And yeah, therefore he was able to go extend further than he really wanted to make a Drago. I mean, he opened United and what's the other one? Gateway. He opened with those cards, but he wasn't able to drop the Shien, and yeah, he had to summon 2 Kazans and stuff before eventually he made his Shien. So he kills my Drago. And I forget what exactly happened, but all I know is I was able to get a Black Rose Dragon nuke off, and he had no means of stopping it. And afterwards, I was able to summon Mass Dragon, he punched it over, and then I dropped Light and Darkness Dragon, who completely locked him down. He didn't really know that Lad could stop all effects, so he was forced to burn a monster effect and do 2 spell cards just to get Kazan able to run over Lad, who special summoned Mass Dragon back to the field. Afterwards, I removed for Darkness Metal Dragon, revived Quackmere Drago, and that was GG. Let me put that guy back down. Game 2. He opens into Shien, drops the other Shien on me, so I'm facing Legendary Shien and Great Shogun Shien, and I set a Mass Dragon because I figure he's probably going to be going for a big rush next turn. I'm right, he flips up the double-edged sword technique, so I end up facing down 2 Shiens, Kagemusha, no, 2 Shiens, Kageki, and an Eteria Barkion that he makes, because he was worried about my back row. So he punches through my 3 Mass Dragons, and he runs over my Exploder Dragon with his Barkion, who then kills it. Why did he do that? Because then he revived it with Monster Born. Sucks. Then on my turn, I summon Red Eyes Wyvern, I remove it for Darkness Metal, I summon Exploder Dragon, I get rid of the Barkion, I kill 1 Shien, and he has no outs to my 2800 attack beat sticks, so he switches the other Shien to defense, and from there on, I'm just able to dominate him with my attackers. I eventually make a Stardust Dragon and drop a Thunder King Ryo, which he has no answer, Scoop Phase. Well, I wouldn't say Scoop Phase, but he, yeah. I was able to put the pressure on him, and he had no answers to my guys. So yeah, I'm really pleased with how that one went. He went the nuts in like both games. I mean, he didn't. If it wasn't for my Quackmere Dragon, I'm sure he would have like gone crazy in that first game. And in the second game, he just went so aggro, and I was able to just come back from that. So I'm really pleased with how the Samurai matchup went. Next round, I'm up against Worms, which is usually a really good matchup for me. But unfortunately, he was able to just get really good cards off of his W Nebula Meteorite plays. He was bouncing my Drago, or he was killing it. Long story short, I wasn't able to keep Quackmere Drago on the field as much as I would have liked. And then he dualities into an Honest, so at this point, whatever I summoned that could get over his Worm King, he could Honest over. Except for the fact that for some stupid reason, I have a Lad in my hand and a Totem in the graveyard and a chance to summon it. For some reason, I'm thinking that even if I summon Lad, he still has this magical out, or I don't know. It was another brutal misplay I made that could have cost me things, because the way I look at it now is I could have summoned Lad, tried to attack over his guy. Even if he used Honest, I would have gotten a Darkness Metal Dragon back who would have punched over his Worm King, and then I would have summoned a Quackmere Drago, making his set Nebula Meteorite a bit useless. So, didn't do that, and I paid for it with a loss. Game 2, I get the Quackmere Drago off him, but he kept killing it. I'm like, summon Drago, bottomless. Summon Drago, warning. That kind of stuff. Then I cut about 5,000 of my own life points off, negating his major monster summons, and as a result, I have about 1,000 life points left, and I'm there, and I run out of means of stopping his 1,000 attack worms. So I'm forced to scoop. So I went through 1-1 in the Winnipeg, but I was much more satisfied with this one. The Light and Darkness Dragons did very well, all things considered. I just ran the deck better, barring that screw up in the Worm game this way. I was asked if I were to go to a regionals with this type of deck, would I be confident that it would do well? Yes. I am very confident that a Disaster Dragon deck, a build like this, would do very well. Would I be able to do well with the deck? That is another issue all entirely. I've been saying this to my friends all weekend and to everyone around. You can have one of the best decks out there, but it's up to the player to determine how well one does with it. Disaster Dragon especially more so. This is a deck that is even harder to pilot well than Gladiator Beasts, because we don't have a proving ground. We don't have like easy means of recovering from a bad thing. Dragon Duelist Girl said it best: if you make one major misplay with this deck, you're probably going to lose. It's that kind of thing. I love this deck very much. Unfortunately, I'm not quite capable of making the most out of it as those top guys. But again, this is just something that comes from continually playing in such environments. So I'm sure eventually I will get to the point where I am able to utilize the deck just as well as Clark or Dragon Duelist Girl, so on and so on. Either way, though, for my first regionals experience, it was a very fun thing. I would do these more often, but alas, money stuff. And one other thing before it goes, I'm going to show you guys my side deck. I didn't do one last deck profile because I wanted to save it until after this. And there are definitely some things I would change. So, first up, my third MST. I sided this in every single game. I really did. 2 Kaiku to stop all that moving from the graveyard shenanigans, no Dark World stuff, Rex Plants, Rex Agents, stop Steedy Crow, etc., etc. Yeah, this guy was very good. I just didn't get to him often. 2 Thunder King, definitely going to be bumping this up to 3. It's just too good. 2 Veiler. The only time I drew it was against Machina Gadgets, and he already had his Dimensional Fissure on the field. So, yeah. I'm not too sure about these. I'm probably, if I really could, I would run Gemini Imps or, unfortunately, Skullmeister just to stop Dark Worlds. 2 Cyber Dragons, it was alright. I mean, he baits out those bottomlesses, he baits out Thunder King, who is around very often. He gets over Doomcow, and so on and so on. I do want to keep this guy, but I might cut him just for space issues. 2 Debunk. This card is amazing. I wish I could have gotten it more often. I'm honestly thinking this is main deck worthy, at least one of, just because of all the hand traps that are going around this format. Now that Plants won Columbus again, there are going to be those people who are main decking 2 to 3 Max C. And while this deck isn't really too bothered by Max C, at most you special summon once or twice per turn. If you see the Max C, they're probably going to be doing it in response to our Darkness Metal Dragon effect. And yeah, Max C doesn't hurt this deck as much as others, but still, debunking a Veiler or a Crow is always a nice thing, or debunking the Ember's Blade that you run over, always nice. 2 Mind Crush. I only used this once. I don't know if I'm going to keep this in here. It is a good card, but I think there's just better stuff to run. And 2 Chaos Trap Hole for the Dark Worlds and other matchups that utilize Light and Dark monsters. This, I'm not too sure. I think I'm going to see how Black Horn of Heaven works, if I can get my hands on a couple. Cards I want to try are 2 Black Horn of Heaven, 2 Breaker the Magical Warrior, and then Gemini Imps. So we'll see what can be cut for those. And that's it for my regionals experience. Thank you guys for watching. I don't know what kind of profile updates I'll be doing. I am working on my TG Agents deck again. I took it with me to the event for like on the side deck testing purposes, just for matchup stuff, and 2 of the people I went with were very impressed with how the deck worked, and as a result they're going to be building it now, which hooray for me. I got 2 people to start playing a deck that I ran. Yeah, it was pretty and stuff. I will say, creature swaps, oh my god, why didn't I main this before? It's, yeah, good stuff. And I gotta say, congrats to Billy Bray for winning his second YCS ever, especially despite opening with triple Reborn Tengu in his hand. I've always cringed whenever I see 3 Tengu in an opening hand, or in this deck's case, 3 Red Eyes Wyverns. Or in the events case, all spells and traps with no monsters. Yeehaw! Friggin' hell, it's like an 18 monster deck too. I should have opened with something. I'm still upset that I opened with no monsters on a couple occasions. But yeah, so that's all I gotta say on this. Thank you guys for watching, and until the next time, take care.